Good morning to everyone. It gives me a great pleasure to be with you again to chair this seminar together, talking about Saudi Arabia, market orientation, regulatory affairs, and opportunities that are there. Before I start my introduction, I would like to thank our speakers during this seminar for their efforts to make this happen and to prepare for us such a nice, good presentation, informative about Saudi Arabia. I would like also to extend my thanks for the Korean pharma industry who are attending this seminar, and hopefully it's going to be of benefit for them. Especially, it will talk about the sales and marketing. It will talk about the regulatory affair, which is very important in Saudi Arabia, and also the opportunities there. This is also important here. I would like to extend my thanks to the Korean Ministry of Health and Welfare for their support to KIDI. And also, I would like to extend my thanks to KIDI management for their support to our department, and a special thanks to my colleagues who had made their efforts and provide their help to make this seminar happen and to make it available for all of you. This is actually our seminar is gonna talk about Saudi Arabia, because Saudi Arabia is considered the biggest and the number one economy, not only in the GCC countries, but also in Middle East, and also in a bigger region, which is called MENA region, Middle East and North Africa. That's why I think in this region, the main focus should be Saudi Arabia pharma market as being a very important market to start with. And it is also a reference market in the region. Our speakers during this seminar are three speakers, well expert people, persons from Saudi Arabia, are expert in the field of the pharma industry and pharma business. And through their presentation, we are going to have an idea about a lot of information that is needed about certain opportunities that can be captured by the Korean pharma industry and can make a lot of difference in the cooperation between Republic of Korea and Saudi Arabia in the same time. We'll talk and focus mainly on Amarox Pharma. Amarox Pharma is a local Saudi manufacturing company, and they do manufacture generics and other products in their manufacturing facility. Let me have the chance now and move to introduce our speakers. The first speaker is Dr. Abdullah Al-Zumea. Abdullah Al-Zumea is a co-founder and the chief executive officer of Amarox Pharma in Saudi Arabia. He is a person, he's a Saudi, from Saudi Arabia, and he is a pharmacist graduate from Faculty of Pharmacy. He has a long experience in the pharma industry, in sales and marketing, licensing strategies, and also in manufacturing pharmaceutical projects and regulatory submission in the same time. Dr. Al-Zumea worked in international companies like Boehringer Ingelheim, like Abbott, and like Actavis, and also he worked in many local pharma Saudi manufacturing facilities in Saudi Arabia. Dr. Al-Zumea is going to introduce to us Saudi Arabia pharma market overview and opportunity, and this is going to be the first topic and the first lecture or presentation to be made. Our second speaker is Dr. Abdullah Al-Rashidan. Dr. Abdullah Rashidan is a director of regulatory affairs in working with Amarox Pharma. He is a very well-known person as an expert in regulatory business. Dr. Al-Rashidan is from Saudi Arabia. He has a pharmacy degree. He is a pharmacist, graduated from Saudi Arabia, and he has a master degree from Nottingham University in drug discovery and pharmaceutical science. Dr. Al-Rashidan worked with Saudi FDA for 9 years, and he was the senior quality assessor in many departments, actually, in Saudi FDA. It was on the active pharmaceutical ingredients department, also in finished pharmaceutical product department, and also in analytical procedure and validation department, which is very important in the registration process. Through his experience in Saudi FDA, he gained a lot of experience. He understands the process and he understands the needs for a success to register a product in Saudi Arabia. He is very well known in Saudi Arabia in his knowledge and information in this regard. Dr. Al-Rashidan worked in an international company, which is Servier Laboratory, as a GCC pharmacovigilance manager for 1 year, and then he moved to work with Amarox Pharma in Saudi Arabia. His presentation is going to be about pharma registration approval procedures and guidelines. I think this is one of the strong and the needed lectures or presentations that will help too much in understanding the needs and the process in the same time in Saudi Arabia for successful registration and achieving the company and the product registration there for a business to happen with them. Our third speaker is Dr. Mustafa Salim. Mustafa Salim is the director of sales and marketing in the company, and he is Egyptian, but his education, he studied in Faculty of Medicine. He graduated as a doctor, and he worked as a GP in Egypt after graduation, but he found himself more in sales and marketing. So he moved to work with GSK there in the Egyptian market. And after that, he got an opportunity to go to Saudi Arabia with one of the leading Saudi companies. He continued his career there, and he worked well with them, and he moved on the hierarchy for a director position. Then after that, he worked regional director for Gulf region with another generic company. Dr. Mustafa has a strong experience in sales and marketing in Saudi Arabia and in the Gulf region. In the same time, he is now again the director of sales and marketing for Amarox Pharma. Dr. Mustafa is going to talk to us about introduction and successful story of Amarox Pharma in Saudi Arabia as an opportunity for pharma and biopharma Korean companies. I would like to welcome our speakers and to welcome you all to this presentation. Hopefully, it's going to be fruitful, informative to all of you. Thank you very much.
Good morning. This is Abdullah Zumay, the co-founder and CEO of Saudi Amarox company. I would like to thank Kidi and my friend Dr. Kamal for inviting me to participate with you in Kidi seminar. and to speak about the pharmaceutical market in MENA region in general and Saudi Arabia mainly, that include the market insight and opportunities of collaboration to penetrate our market, and the opportunities of collaboration with Amarox, as well as I'll talk about Amarok's success story in a few slides later. As you know, the pharmaceutical products and medicine is necessary for the life in all cases, like the food and water to save the life. And we have witnessed what happened during the corona pandemic. All countries raced to provide the medicine and the prevention product from corona, as well as the importance of medicine, whether in normal life or in crisis time, which lead to have good and attractive business worldwide. And as you can see in this slide, the market keep growing, and during last 8 to 10 years, the market worldwide has increased by 32% to reach 1.6 trillion US dollar. This is lead us to ask ourselves what's the main reasons or what's the driven of the market growth. And I could summarize the main reasons of driven in population growth, as the current population close to 8 billion, and it talks hundreds, as you know, it talks hundreds of thousands of years of the world population to grow to 1 billion. And then another 200 years or so, it grow sevenfold. As in 2011, the global population reached to 7 million, and it stand almost 7.9 billion in 2021, and expected to grow to 8.5 billion in 2030, to reach to 10.9 billion in 2100s. The second driven of the market is the changing on the lifestyle and aging population. As mentioned, the dramatic growth has been driven largely by increasing number of people surviving to reproductive age, and has been accompanied by major change in fertility rate. Also, the increasing urbanization and accelerating migration, which increase the number of the people living in cities. Meanwhile, the average global lifespan risen from 64 years in early 1990s to 72.8 years in 2019. In addition, the world is seeing high level of urbanization, as I mentioned. In 2007, the first year which more people live in urban areas, then and also expected in 2050 will be more than 66% of the world population will be living in cities. This for sure will affect on the economy development and employment, income distribution, social protection. This also affect to ensure universal access to healthcare and education, housing, food, and energy to more sustainably the need of individual. So policymaker must understand how many people are living on the planet, where they are, and where they are, how old they are, and how many people will come later. The third reason of the market growth is the spending on pharmaceutical and healthcare sector as expected to grow between 3 to 6% through 2026. And the medicine use and medicine accessibility will lead to and spending trend have been negatively, as you know, and impacted negatively by COVID pandemic during last few years. Global medicine spending will be lifted stronger by growth of emerging market through 2026, and will slow down due to the loss of patent. As you know, plenty of product going to lose lots of patent of going to happen during current 10 years. Also expected to have more than 300 new drugs over next 5 years, and expected to also to have more products in the categories or the niche product and orphan drugs. A new product launch in next 5 years will result in 196 billion spending, and offset by a reduction in brand spending with 188 billion dollar, as mentioned, due to the loss of exclusivity. The two leading global therapies areas will continue oncology and immunology for forecast growth between 9 to 12% and 6 to 9% respectively through 2026, lifted by significant increase in new treatment and medicine use, and offset by the impact of biosimilar. Neurology and many new medicine are expected across a range of disease, including migraine therapies, as well as the new medicine for rare neurological disease like Alzheimer and Parkinson disease. Here I would like to speak more about my country. And now I'm moving to the main subject of my speech. As you know, Saudi Arabia is one of the G20 countries and has ambitious vision that led by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman and supported by King Salman. Saudi Arabia nowadays witness improvement in all aspects and empowerment for economic growth, prosperity in life, and openness to the world, sincerely and earnest to call to participate in our country growth and development in all aspects, and one of them the pharmaceutical. Actually, the vision and the programs support Amaroks to grow dramatically and to do a success story within 3 years of its establishment. Saudi Arabia is a big country as it's spread in 2.25 million square meter, and has one of the uh, uh, highest GDP on the world, close to more than $1,000 billion. The population of Saudi Arabia, including the expats, is 34 million, and the almost all of the population in early age, as you see, there are more than 24.5 less than 15 years, and also close to 72% between 15 to 64. And also the lowest percentage is 3.6 for people whom are more than 65. So we are expecting more growth in all aspects. Hence, the government spending a lot in improvement the healthcare service and treatment accessibility. As you see, MOH and other MOH and other governmental sector, as well as private sector spending on the healthcare service, and as you see, there is growth in the number of hospital. For example, in MOH during last 8 years, MOH or 9 years, the number of hospitals in MOH increased by 11% from 259 to 287 hospitals. Also, the other governmental hospital like military hospital and institution hospital increased by 31% from 39 to 51 hospitals. This is a result in increase in the private sector investment on the hospital, as the number increased from 137 to 195 hospital. And I'm expecting, and we witness more hospital under construction in private sector and governmental entire the country. The government of Saudi Arabia consider the healthcare sector one of the pillars of the expenditures of the government, and very important, as you can see, the education, education and healthcare as the highest, one of the top highest budget. As you see, 138 billion Saudi Riyal is the budget of healthcare sector, which equal to 37 billion US dollar. Saudi Arabia considered the biggest market in MENA region, and per recent IQVIA report released on September 2022, Saudi Arabia considered almost 1/3 of the total market of MENA region, with a market size of 9.2 billion US dollar, and largest is Egypt in 6 billion. Those two countries dominating more than 50% of the market in entire MENA region. The market in Saudi Arabia and Gulf region still dominated by multinational countries, multinational companies, with a market share close to 58%, and also local companies has a good opportunity of growth through the support by the local content and the programs, and support also by the vision of Saudi Arabia to increasing the health care accessibility and supporting the local content, supporting by local content, which give a growth rate last year 16% or close to 17%. Also, the retail channel dominating a good percentage in the MENA region as well as in Saudi Arabia, with a share of 71%. Hence, therefore, Amarox has signed one of the leading pharmacy chain companies to increase the share and opportunity of the company, as you will see on the next slides. There are, in my opinion, there are four ways to enter any market: through indirect presence, where the MH control is less and less effort and investment, and as well as the less profit by giving all the rights of marketing, sales to the local presence, either through distributor or marketing company. The second option is to direct presence through scientific office and represented by local distributor, and this is give more control higher than previous one, and of course higher investment and the higher profit. I see it for brands comparing to the generic, especially in our market, and this is will also has less potential in the governmental tenders. Then the third one, which is I think nowadays especially is the best way to enter, and we do it and have experience successfully with many of our partners to collaborate with local manufacturer, and Amarox do the same with the companies from different countries worldwide, as we get the license from the company to be the image in our country, and this is cut the cost of investment for the supplier, as we will cover the cost and the investment in marketing and sales. This is faster access because the advantage of the local companies, as you will see in next slides, and faster access, better price for the local company, equal control, as your company will hold the IP and we will hold the image, higher profit, and higher potential in governmental tender. Last is to set up your own manufacturing site in Saudi Arabia, and this is supported also by the government. Faster access as well as protection price, and more, of course, more market investment and construction investment. I see it a huge investment, I could say, and higher margin. Here, some of the new programs that been done by Saudi government under through the Vision 2030 to support the local companies, and this will lead to increase the local company growth significantly, and also the support that being provided by local content and the procurement authorities in Saudi Arabia, where they put a preference for the local companies in like price preference between 10 to 30%. Here, and I'll give example. If our offer in the tender is $1.1, while foreign company offer $1, and our price even high, we have the right to get the product. Also, there is mandatory list where for around 100 products till today, which are limited for the local companies only, regardless the cost, comparing to the foreign company. Also, they release what they call local content suckers in commercial evaluation, or minimum local content, which called baseline, and Amarox is working on that to get it, and very soon we'll have we will have certificate of baseline, which qualified us to get the preference in mandatory list, of course, plus to the preference as a local company. Also, there are more encouragement for the local for localization, for production localization and technology transfer to Saudi. The support include the fund by the government up to 75% for site for manufacturing site cost, with a grace period of payment 2 to 3 years, and payment period of 15 years. Also, it's open now for 100% ownership. Also, as I mentioned previously, the local content preference. Also, we have prepared our well-prepared manufacturing cities entire the country under modern, and there are 35 cities from spread on the Saudi Arabia, and there are success story of investment in Saudi Arabia and partnership. One of them is Amarox. Here I would like to speak about my company, Saudi Amarox, and I speak proudly the story as it has been established in 2017 and started its product submission for registration on April 2018, and today we have wide range of approved product by Saudi FDA, and has success market penetration, as our medicine today available in all and listed in all main and biggest hospital, either governmental or private sector, due to well selected high quality range and talented team of marketing supported by highly expert people of registration, and thanks to our other operational sector in the company. Therefore, we achieved sales of $15 million within short time since the product launch in last year, November. And by the way, we launched close to 30 products out of 90 approved products till today. And also we are launching more products and expanding our team, and we work actively to be ready and prepared for next governmental tender that will be released and announced in December 2022. And we are till today we are ready of approved range, wide range that have potential of 600 million Saudi riyal, 160 million US dollar only in this tender. And we expecting to have potential more than potential, as we are keep submitting more products. Actually, we have a clear vision to be a leading pharma company entire the region, and the truth mission to manufacture and to sell the highest quality product and increase the treatment accessibility via a robust distribution. We have, as I mentioned, we have wide products and we are available in many of therapeutic categories. As you can see here, we kept logo for each therapeutic which appear on our product backing. That include the CNS, cardiovascular, diabetes, antiviral, antibacterial, oncology, GIT, nephrology, and also OTC products. As you can see here, I share with you some picture of our products where our attention to the smallest details emerge here. Also the creativity in the design was evident to show the story of each product, starting with a clear company logo to confirm the mark of quality and excellence led by Amarox, and consolidate the name of the company. And then the trade name of the product appear in a distinctive way supported by a beautiful background symbolizing the field of the medical product category. In general, the backing design has been adopted in a way that can be realized by specialists, whether doctors or pharmacists or even a patient, even the patient that is a product from Amarox. Our company our ambitious company with a vision of such a vision for sure will be approached by leading partners with added value. Hence, Amarox is the right partner for a pharmaceutical company that looking for win-win success partnership. Therefore, we have success partners like Hitro from India, which is a leading pharmaceutical manufacturing company, as you know, and we have also one or the biggest and leading distributor in Saudi Arabia, Tamar, that is going to celebrate their 100 years establishment in next month in November. Also, we have collaborated with Camber, which is Hitro arm in US. And recently, as I mentioned, we have signed with Al Dawa pharmacy chain that own 900 pharmacies till today, which will be fruitful for both companies and for our future partner. Finally, I want to give some hints about our partner Hitro, which is spread in 120 or a presence in 126 countries and supported by 15 API facilities and 21 formulation facilities and 3 R&D centers with 1,000 scientists, which led to continuous rich pipeline to support and assure our continuous success to introduce more and more. The world-class facilities of manufacturing facilities in India and other countries, starting from USA till end in to the eastern in Indonesia, including India and Saudi Arabia, under construction now. With a huge capacity, as you can see here, the figures of 75 billion tablets and 700 units injectables, also 360 tons of pellets and 7 billion capsules and 23 million units of liquid. The sites, as you know, being approved by all stringent countries worldwide, as you can see on this slide. And then they would like to thank you, and please reach me on the email that shown in the slide, where we can communicate and discuss further. And thank you for attending, and looking to meet you in a near future. And I'm looking to visit Korea again to meet you in person. Thank you and have a good day. Bye.
Hi everyone, good morning. This is Abdullah Rashaidan. I am the Regulatory Affairs Director in Amarox KSA, and I'm representing the company today to present the RA presentation about pharma registration approval procedures in Saudi Arabia and guidelines. It is my extreme pleasure being with you today, and special thanks to the organizer, Korea Health Industry Development Institute. So before we go deep in this presentation, I would like to briefly introduce myself. So I am pharmacist by training, and I used to work with Saudi Food and Drug Authority, which is the main regulator for product registration in Saudi Arabia, and we will see this in the slides in this presentation. So I used to work with the authority for 9 years and the product evaluation department. So we handle the evaluation of the CMC quality part of the products for human, herbal and health products and vet products. After that, I joined a multinational company here in Saudi Arabia, which is called Servier, as pharmacovigilance manager for 1.5 years, and I have been working with Saudi Amarox for the last 1.5 years as Regulatory Affairs Director. It is my extreme pleasure being with you today, and I hope that you will find this presentation very helpful and useful. So before we go in the regulation here in Saudi Arabia, just a quick view, verbal quick view on the major, I would say, governmental bodies that are involved in the pharma industry in general in Saudi Arabia. So we have the main player, the key stakeholder here is Saudi FDA, Saudi Food and Drug Authority. We will be spending the whole presentation focusing on this entity, And we have many other entities that I would like to mention just at the beginning of this presentation, just to give you the overview. So we have many other governmental bodies that interact with Saudi FDA in certain aspects. So we have, for example, Saudi Authority for Intellectual Property to discuss with Saudi FDA about patent issue for pharma products under registration and the newly registered products. We have new governmental bodies called Local Content Authority. So this authority is handling the concept of applying the local content in the manufacturing of pharma products here in Saudi Arabia. So their goal is to increase the baseline of companies who would like to manufacture in Saudi Arabia, so they can benefit in mainly governmental procurement, and this will be covered heavily, I'm sure, with my colleagues, Dr. Abdullah Zumay, who already presented to you his presentation about the market, and my colleague, the GM of Sales and Marketing, Dr. Mustafa. So we'll go now to our first slide. So as I said before, Saudi FDA is the major player in the registration of products in Saudi Arabia. This was used to be handled by the Ministry of Health, but in 2003 and 2004, the government here in Saudi Arabia decided to initiate this new authority. Now, Saudi FDA, it's worth mentioning that Saudi FDA is an ICH member, which is a very good step in the progress of this authority. And this authority consists of many sectors, but we will be focusing on one sector, which is the drug sector. So drug sector is the main sector that handles products registration. We have another sector called food that covers the registration of special foods, food, and anything related to food registration. We have medical device sector handling medical device registration. We have operation sector, where you will find mainly the inspection and licensing directorates who handle the inspection of all plants related to the first three sectors: drug sector, food sector, and medical device sector. And the last sector is the lab and research sector, where they analyze the samples of new products that is coming for registration. Sometimes they do this during the first shipment coming to the market after registration. We will come back to this point later on. So as I said before, we will focus on the drug sector. So it's mainly 4 departments. The first one is regulatory affairs. Regulatory affairs department is handling the receiving of registration files from pharma companies through electronic platform. So everything is done on this platform, nothing to be handled by hand. And this department will distribute the file to other departments like products evaluation, where I used to work with, pharmacovigilance department, and there is one more department that is not interacting with product registration process itself, but they are responsible for some functions after we register the products with Saudi FDA. So this department is called the Drug Availability and Tracking Center. And also regulatory affairs department forward the registration dossier to the inspection department in the operations sector, in the other sector we said in the previous slide. So they will handle the inspection as part of product registration and come back to regulatory affairs department if they have any comments, and then this department will collect all comments, if any, and send it back to companies to respond to SFDA inquiries through the electronic platform, which we call Saudi Drug Registration, SDR. So on this slide and the next few slides, we will focus more on the registration guidelines, the common registration guidelines. So we start with the first one, which is regulatory framework for drug approval. So I highlighted in the table 3 common kind of registrations. The first one is the human generic products. The second one is the new drugs. registered in stringent regulatory authority. And the last one is new drugs not registered in stringent regulatory authority. I highlighted these three for example only, but you can see all timelines that the authority will follow when they evaluate this kind of submissions. But the purpose of this small presentation is to focus on some examples that is more practical and it's easier to deliver the message, which is the scope of this presentation. So we have total performance target for evaluating one application until the final decision of approving or rejecting the application. For generic product, it will take around 155 working days. All days here mentioned are working days. And we have for new drugs registered in SRA 280, and lastly 405 working days for new drugs application not registered in stringent regulatory authority. And coming to stringent regulatory authority, when we say that, we mean here if the product is registered with one of the following authority: US FDA, EMA, MHRA in the UK, PMDA in Japan, and TGA in Australia, and Health Canada. So if the product is registered in one of these markets, this will give the timeline to be shorter, and the final decision to be taken by Saudi FDA will take less time compared to the non-registered products in SRA. Okay, and we have total of 4 rounds as we see on the right. Saudi FDA gives applicants 4 rounds only, and then they will take final decision. If there is any remaining inquiry that is not properly answered, they will reject the file. If you answer all inquiries, you will get the approval. Sometimes good companies with good regulatory teams gets a product registered with first or second round of inquiries, which is good to get faster to the market and compete with others as soon as the company wishes. And it's worth mentioning that all inquiries, we are given 60 working days only to respond to this inquiry. And as we said, we have 4 rounds. So in each round, we have 60 working days to respond to Saudi FDA inquiries, and then we will get the final decision. And I would like to highlight that the registration is valid for 5 years, and it costs around $14,500 for generic product application, and around $35,000 for new drug applications, whether it is or not registered in the stringent regulatory authority. So this is a quick view on the regular review pathway for registration with Saudi FDA. So as we covered the regular review pathway, in this slide we will see the priority review pathway, where your application can reduce the total performance target from 155 working days for generic products to be 93 working days, because the product is eligible to go with this pathway. What is the eligibility criteria? We have 2 major things. Either we have first generic application, or we have application for a product that treats life-threatening disease. In this case, the authority will give us the eligibility to go with this pathway, and we reduce the total framework for the dossier completion and approval by the authority. The last pathway is the verification and abridged pathway. This is dedicated for new chemical entity. It's not for generic products, and it means if the product is registered in EMA in Europe and the US FDA, in this case you can go with the verification option, and the total performance target will be 30 working days for Saudi FDA to complete the product registration. And if you are registered as a new chemical entity with either EMA or US FDA, you will be eligible to go with the abridged option, and you will have your product registered within 60 working days only. And now, after we talked about the regulatory framework in the previous 2 slides, Now we will move to another topic of another guidelines, which is data requirements for human drugs submissions. So we will cover mainly the CMC quality part of the dossier, which is one of the major difficulty that many pharma companies are facing with Saudi FDA. So as good as you can be in the documentation of this part, your product will be registered faster than other companies. And this part could be the major reason for rejection of generic applications by Saudi FDA, along with the requirements of the bioequivalence studies, if applicable. So let's start with the active pharmaceutical ingredient section. So generally speaking, you are requested to provide all the information about the manufacturing process of the API. If your API is a DMF grade, you have the API vendor has to directly submit their restricted part of the DMF to Saudi FDA to review the route of synthesis of the active pharmaceutical ingredients, to review the vendor of the key starting material and the impurity profile of this key starting material and the API as well. A comprehensive evaluation is done by Saudi FDA reviewers to cover this part of the dossier, and then you will have to submit your API specifications along with the batch analysis data. It's worth mentioning that the data requirements guidelines for Saudi FDA is majorly adapted from some global guidelines like ICHQ 6A, and they use the international pharmacopoeias like the USP, European and British pharmacopoeia as a reference to evaluate the API specification, and then you will have to submit your analytical procedures along with their validations. And the major reference globally is the ICHQ2, and with all the details on the analytical procedure and the way they conduct the validation in this guidelines is requested by Saudi FDA. Finally, you will have to submit your stability data on the API on 3 batches, both accelerated and long-term stability data. Just to confirm that the right message has been delivered in the previous slide, you will have to send, as we said, details on the manufacturing process of the API. You will have to discuss all possible and actual impurities of your API route of synthesis, including organic, inorganic, and genotoxic impurities. And this is a very hot topic now in Saudi FDA since like 7 or 8 years. All residual solvents should be controlled, or at least their control strategy should be discussed in the dossier, and the heavy metals that may originate from using catalyst in the route of synthesis should be controlled, or their control strategy should be discussed in the dossier. As we said, API should be submitted from both API supplier, your vendor, and you as formulator. Analytical procedure, as we said, should be validated, and we should have minimum of 3 batches covering the proposed retest period of the API on both condition, accelerated and long-term conditions. We come now to the finished pharmaceutical products section. It's more or less the same concept as we discussed with the API. So you'll have to submit all your details on the manufacturing process of the finished pharmaceutical products. This should include the process validation data. So if you have non-sterile dosage form, it's enough that you submit commitment that you will do process validation on the first 3 commercial consecutive batches, and copy of your validation protocol. If you are submitting sterile products, no. In this case, the Saudi FDA requested companies to send process validation data on 3 validation batches, and they have to be consecutive, and commitment that the process validation will be performed on 3 consecutive production batches after product commercialization. In the same way, Saudi FDA requests release and shelf life specifications and batch analysis data for the finished products. Again, they are using the same references as we discussed in the API. Analytical procedure should be validated as per the ICHQ2, and we have stability data requirements that we will detailedly discuss in the next slide. So as we said, manufacturing process and process validation data, there is one topic that is sometimes controversial with some companies, which is called the overage. So if you are claiming overage in your product formula, you should justify it with the proper data. And so the FDA will assess this data in the dossier, and they will accept or reject your claimed overage. If they reject it, if they see that there is no valid reason for adding overage, this would be I would say a major reason for rejecting the application, because the consequences of this request would be very heavy, that the company would request to Saudi FDA on this requirement during the product registration is very, very difficult. Again, you will have to discuss on the control of all possible and actual degradation products. In this case, you should have both the release and shelf life specification. Analytical procedure should be fully validated, and we should have a minimum of 6-month accelerated stability study and a 12-month long-term stability study on 3 batches, considering zone 4 storage condition. In Saudi Arabia, Saudi FDA does not accept stability study on zone 2 storage condition, so it has to be on 30 degrees, and it has to cover at least 12 months, so they can evaluate it and they extrapolate the results as per their statistical analysis, and they can assign the product 24 months shelf life with the commitment that you will complete your stability study and to properly assess and assign a proper shelf life for the products. And now, after we hopefully finalize our product evaluation with the concerned departments, of course, there will be other departments who would evaluate the product, like the pharmacovigilance, if your product requires what they call risk minimization measures, specific risk minimization measures, or what they call additional risk minimization measures. They will ask you to implement this during product commercialization, and this happened with the brand, the innovator products, as well as generic products. Sometimes you receive comments from the lab to submit samples or standards, and as I said before, this can be during the registration or maybe after the commercialization of the first product coming to the Saudi market. And then after you finalize all these comments from all departments, the Regulatory Affairs Department in Saudi FDA will move the product to the next step, which is the pricing. So very briefly, I chose to give you one slide on the pricing rules implemented by Saudi FDA for brand and generic products. So if a new product, a new chemical entity is coming for registration for Saudi Arabia, and it applies for registration application with Saudi FDA, they consider the following points when they price the product. So they see the therapeutic value compared to existing options. They see the prices of the therapeutic alternatives registered in Saudi Arabia, and they see the pharmacoeconomics evaluation studies performed and submitted by the brand company, and they will see the factory, wholesale, and public prices in the country of origin and in another 16 reference countries. And there is a specific form for this pricing requirements with all 16 countries that I did not prefer to add in this slide, not to have a lot of information, just to make sure that you have understood that we have 16 reference countries right now. They used to be 20, and before that they used to be 30. Now we have only 16 reference countries. And as we said, the validity of the certificate is for 5 years. So after 5 years, the brand and the generic product would apply for a renewal application, and the maximum price reduction as per the new pricing rules by Saudi FDA will not exceed 30% price reduction. And the company can negotiate during renewal to make it less and to have more profit based on the company justification. This is for all products. We focus in the innovator in the first 4 points, and in the chart here, it's just one example. If you have at the beginning innovator product only registered in Saudi Arabia, they can sell the products until the patent is expired, and we might have a first generic application to be filed with Saudi FDA. If this generic application is registered, the innovator price will be reduced to 75% of its original price when he was only in the market. and the first generic will have 70%. Then we have option that the second generic is registered, the innovator and first generic price remains the same, and the second generic will have 65% from the innovator original price. Okay, and then we have third generic, which can goes to 60% reduction from the original innovator price, and after that all upcoming generics will have the same price, which is 60% from the original innovator price when the original product, the innovator product, was initially registered in Saudi Arabia. Then if we have, for example, a renewal application for the brand and the price is reduced to, let's say, 20%, in this case the change will be reflected on all other generics prices to have the same percentage difference as with the brand with their new price after the renewal of the registration. The last thing to talk about regarding the common registration guidelines is the inspection. I just would like to highlight that the inspection fees for Korean companies is if you are applying for a human products application, the inspection fees is 27 and 500,000 US dollar, and if you are applying for vet products, it's 14,400 US dollar. And it's worth mentioning that the inspection is done as part of the first product registration process, so nothing to be done from your side before you submit your first application. The application goes to the Regulatory Affairs Department, as we mentioned before, and then the file gets distributed to all departments, including inspection. At this stage, they will send you the inquiries and they will send you the request to pay the fees and to select the proper dates for them to come and visit the plant as part of the product registration. With this slide, we have summarized the main registration guidelines. In fact, in Saudi FDA, we have around 115 laws and regulations. From this number of laws and regulations, we have around 134 guidelines, of which we have 61 guidelines dedicated for the drug sector. So you can see how huge it is, and the guidelines gets updated very frequently. So they update the existing guidelines and they create new guidelines at the same time. So it is very regulated market, and the level, to be honest, the level of sophistication and the complexity of the evaluation by the authority is very high, and requires high competences by applicants to match the standards and to satisfy all requirements by the authority. Now we will just have a quick look on the Regulatory Affairs Department we have in Saudi Amarok. So we are a team of 3 persons. Me, myself, is the RA director, and as I told you before, I am ex-Saudi FDA product assessor, and I have almost 12 years experience, and I have a bachelor and master degree in pharmaceutical sciences from Saudi Arabia and from the UK and from the University of Nottingham. We have RA manager who used to work with many pharma companies here in Saudi Arabia, and he has 13 years experience in many areas, including the regulatory affairs. And we have a PV specialist who joined us 1 year ago. She used to work with Saudi FDA as a trainee for 6 months, and now she has 1 year experience, and the whole experience of the PV specialist is with Saudi Amaroks. In this slide, and as we are at the beginning of our journey here in Saudi Arabia, we focus in the regulatory department on new submissions and registrations. We do variations and all other regulatory activities, but we focus mainly on the submissions and registrations. So I have summarized what we have done in the last 5 years. In 2018, we submitted almost 12 applications. So we did not have any registrations, and this is, of course, after we saw all the guidelines and the requirements. You do not expect that the product is registered in the same year as you submit your file. In 2019, we have submitted 40 products and we registered 3 products. In 2020, we have submitted almost 24 products and we have registered 24 products. In 2021 was the transition in our regulatory team. I joined the company in 2021 and we did our best to finalize all pending submissions and to submit new products. As you can see, in the numbers goes very high in 2021, so we submitted almost 33 applications and we registered 44 products in 2021. And this, by the way, this number is only from May 2021 until December, so it's actually less than 1 year, but we are very thankful to the capabilities we have in the company to submit and register this number of products. In 2022 until now, we have submitted almost 37 registration applications and we received almost 20 products registered. It is worth mentioning that some products that we submitted in July and August 2021, we get them registered by mid of this year. So it was a journey of 10 months. So our current applications is taking less time because we have the capabilities in the company. We know what the documentation required for Saudi FDA to accept our applications. We do our best along with our partners to prepare our files before we submit them to the authority, to make sure that we go with the lowest number of rounds of inquiries and with the shortest journey of registration, and to get our product registered and going to the market as soon as we can. Last thing, I would like to finalize my presentation with a very good news about our company. In 2021 and in 2022, Amarox have been the first contributor to the shortage initiative by Saudi FDA. So this is an announcement in Arabic language by our authority stating that we thank all pharma companies for contributing to this initiative that they started in 2021. So we contributed, as you see in the red circle, we are #1 company in Saudi Arabia that contribute to the shortage initiative by proposing to register products that we have shortage in the country, and with good quality of documentation that we register the products earlier than other companies. So we are very, very proud of our company to be #1 contributor in this shortage. That's all from me today. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much for the Korea Health Industry Development Institute for organizing such seminar. It is my extreme pleasure, as I said before, to be with you, and I hope that this presentation was very useful to you. And I hope that one day we meet in person to discuss further and to see any further opportunities with the Korean companies here in Saudi Arabia. Thank you so much and wish you all the best.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Mustafa Slim, GM Sales and Marketing at Amarox KSA. In the next few slides, we will go through what we do to inspire healthcare future in KSA. Who's Amarox? Amarox, one of the fastest-growing KSA-based pharmaceutical company engaged in manufacturing and marketing best-in-class generic with a special emphasis in serving the unmet and poorly met needs of the Middle Eastern area. Our vision to be one among the leading pharmaceutical transnational company in the Middle East area, and also to manufacture access high-quality medicine through distribution network and establish accessibility of entire population in the region. Our value is integrity and care. We care about our customer, we care about community, a partner, and patient. In this slide, we will go to take MENA Pharma market allocation and overview about the share of each country in this area. We will start with Saudi Arabia, 27%, and the highest and biggest country in this region as value. We are talking here about value. Then comes Egypt with 14%, and then Algeria 12%, UAE 9%, Iran 9%, Iraq 5%, Lebanon 5%, and the rest is 19%. When we go to see allocation by segment, we'll found prescription product representing 73% and O2C product 27%. Now we'll just take a small overview about GCC area allocation. KSA representing 59% and UAE 18%, Kuwait 9%, Oman 6%, Qatar 5%, and Bahrain 3%. Now when we go to see this area by segments, we'll found diabetes, which is the highest, representing 24%, and then cardiovascular 21%, cancer 9%, obesity 6%, infectious disease 21%, and other disease 19%. Now we will come to Saudi Arabia. We need to talk just to know what Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia considered one of the biggest Arab country, and the capital is Riyadh. Population 34.17 million, and border sharing. They are sharing border with many countries in all GCC countries: Bahrain, Iraq, Jordan, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, UAE, and Yemen. Coastal lines they have to border in Gulf Arab area, and in the other side from Red Sea area. Official language is Arabic, and religion Muslim. Region they have almost 6 regions: Riyadh, Jeddah, Mecca, Medina, and Dammam. GDP almost 46,000 US dollar, and GDP ranking is 17. Unemployment rate we are talking about 5%. Major industry: sure, oil and mining and real estate, automotive and pharmaceutical. We are starting pharmaceutical now also to be part of industry here. Currency and exchange: Saudi Riyal, and currency devaluation 0.06%. When we talk about GDP growth from 2019 to 2021, it was almost 8% in 2019, and then 1% 2020. We know all what happened in the world at this time, and then in 2021 it was 10%. When we go to the pharmaceutical market in KSA, we'll found in 2021 pharmaceutical market was representing almost 8.8 billion US dollar. Tender was 3.5, and private was almost 4 billion. Private hospital and LBO market was 1.2. Total was 8.8. Now we will have some insights about Saudi pharmaceutical market. Saudi pharmaceutical market will grow, inshallah, from 8.8 to in 2021 to 10.5 into 2025, with a CAGR of 4%, supported by National Transformation Program, which is a part of Vision 2030 to improve healthcare provision. Prescription drug account almost 45% from the market, supported by increasing uptake of private healthcare sector, and also we are now starting the medical tourism sector here in KSA, and we are expecting to increase more in the coming period. Increased prevalence of chronic lifestyle and related disease, anti-diabetics and cardiology therapy account alone 18% from total pharma market, and growing by 9%. Also, increase in demand of O2C business and nutraceutical business, especially during COVID period and after. Multivitamin and nutraceutical business grow at 21% from the market. And also growth in digital marketing, especially after increasing drug online selling by big chain, especially Nahdi and Dawa, and after closing of COVID. In this slide, we are going to see some trends and opportunity in Saudi market. Trends, we are talking about private sector growth in chronic segment by 8%, which is a huge growth in this area. SIDF which is Saudi Industrial Development Funds, encourage funding in healthcare and pharma. Plus, we have now almost 25 new manufacturing projects under execution. At the same time, opportunity to establish a strong presence in the key therapy area like cardiology, diabetes is a very big area to grow. Local manufacturer presence give us an edge for registration and timeline and pricing. We are taking fast track in this area as a local manufacturer. Shift from tender to private market, which is a part of 2030 vision to do privatization of institutional or governmental sector to be all under insurance of private. Good opportunity having competitive price and advantage, which is we are competing in this area very well. Also, Saudi content, which is giving so local Saudi content is giving privilege for local company to have 10% preference in all tender, and they have vision to increase it up to 30% to encourage the local manufacturing in tender. Now we are going to talk about therapeutic segment in KSA. The biggest one is cardiovascular and diabetes. We are presenting 1.6 billion US dollar. Then antibiotics, CNS, gastro, oncology, anti-inflammatory, antihistaminic, vaccine, nephrology, ophthalmic, antiretroviral, and antiviral. We are almost available in most of this sector as Saudi Amarcus. In this slide, we are going to talk about Amarc KSA. Amarc KSA is a new pharmaceutical manufacturing company joint venture with Hetero India. We established in 2018, and within a short period of time, we submitted more than 140 products. 90 of them we received already approval by Saudi FDA. We are expecting to get another 10 to 15 product approval within the next few months before end of 2022, and we are keeping submitting every month from 2 to 5 products. We are almost 1 year in KSA market with the full sales and marketing team, and started our pre-launch activity from July 2021. Actual sales started from Jan 2022. Now we are ranked 77 in June 2022 and ranked 92 June 2022 among all 300 companies in KSA, aiming to close the year in top 70. We have every month new launches, expanding our team and establish very good base in a short period of time. We are available in all big account, hospital, polyclinic, pharmacy chain, and many other accounts. We are expanding both vertically and horizontally to fill the gap of unmet need of Saudi market. We have many products as a first generic, and some product even we are brand. This slide, IMS June. Total sales of June is 2.1 billion Saudi Riyal, and year-to-date June is 10.4 billion Saudi Riyal, and May is 19 billion Saudi Riyal. This is IMS total KSA. When we talk about the local company, we are coming as number 9 among all 26 local company within a short period, and we are coming like 77 year-to-date June and 92 year-to-date June. And in May 118 because already we are not available in the last semester of the previous year. What gives us this push in KSA sales is the Amarc's uniqueness among all the other generic. We are not coming with ordinary generic. We are manufacturing high quality, affordable medicine for everyone using the latest technology supported by joint venture with our partner Hetero. We are not doing any compromise in high quality of API and finished product. Most registered products are registered also in USA and Europe. Professional team staff for sales and marketing, regulatory, business development, in all sectors. We have extensive experience to provide the best service to our customer and our partner. We have more than 90 registered products cover most of potential segment. Amarc's pipeline have unique novel molecules that aim to address local as well as global unmet needs. We are one of the biggest portfolio of antiviral in KSA company. In tender business, we have extensive experience in all KSA and Gulf area tender. We participate in the previous NOCO tender in 2020 with around 20 plus registered SQ at this time. We are awarded with 11 SQ with a value of 15.5 million US dollar. This will last for 2 years. By end of this year, we have a plan to participate in coming NOCO with more than 100 registered SQ and some unregistered also niche molecule with a potential over 100 million US dollar. Potential of winning, we have advantage 10 to 20% preference as a local manufacturer, and also we have a good opportunity having competitive price advantage. We are offering best calculated prices as we have long experience in this area, and also we have a very strong partners which is giving us the best prices to compete. Export activity, we prefer to postpone going to neighboring Gulf for 2023, but already we started approaching a very strong partner in all area, and we are almost now finishing and finalizing the signing with them the contract to start our business in 2023. Snapshot from Saudi FDA side. This is award for the company who participate in filling the gap and supplying shortage product. Amarox coming as the first company who is participating in filling this gap and supporting this area. This is the therapy area we are working with: cardiovascular, nervous system, oncology, gastroenterology, nephrology, antiviral, analgesics, anti-allergic, anti-infective, and we have a plan for many other therapy area in near future. In cardiovascular area, we have many products coming as first or second generic. We have dabigatran first generic, bivonib first generic, olmeside second generic, olmefasc second generic, liboferate first generic, and Rost we are coming, although we are coming as 13th generic, but now we are ranked number 6 in IMS. In CNS area, we have elbiprazole and urethane, and we still have some product under registration. In multiple sclerosis area also, we have sphingolene and multifedra, and we have some product under registration. Anti-infective area, we have Xilium, Vanine, and Viagacine, and lastly, we have also Virconazole, and we have some other product also under registration. Allergic, we have levocetirizine and fexofenadine. We have tadalafil 2.5, 5, and 10, and we have very strong molecules coming in very near future. We have Xtor, all concentration, and we have some other product also coming in very near future. Gastroenterology, we have Isipol, both injection and capsule, and Bantrox, injection and capsule. Antiviral area, we have very strong antiviral category. We have Veritra, we are the brand. The brand is not available, and we are the brand. Herbitrix, we are coming as a first generic. Valgan, we are coming as a second generic. Ticabin as a second generic. Trivera as a first generic also. Oncology area, we have a very strong oncology product. We have 8 registered product now. This is just a sample: xylobine, which is capecitabine, lenalidomide, and imatinib, and we have another 5 product registered now, and we have some product also under registration. Partner in this success, Sure Hetero, with a joint venture, Tamr, which is the biggest distributor in KSA and MENA region. Their revenue almost like 5 billion per year. We have Adawa, which is one of the biggest chain in KSA, almost 900 street pharmacy, and Camber, which is a part of Hetero in America. Here we are going to talk about the opportunity of pharma and biopharma courier company in KSA market and even in all Gulf area. We have a huge opportunity for biopharma company, as KSA is still biopharma business for the multinational player mainly. We new form like ODF, we have also a huge opportunity, but needs some more documentation. Product hard to develop also needed, new form needed, and some partnership with some Saudi local company, especially new company, will give a lot of support to this project, as Saudi FDA support new starter company. KSA also is the right message to all Gulf country, as it is a reference country in evaluation. Also, being with a local manufacturer, you will take more advantage, as discussed earlier. In all tender business, you will take 10 to 30% preference when you quote through local manufacturer. Even in private insurance also you will get, and the insurance also you will get some support. Also you can get some exemption from some requirement in registration in Saudi FDA. And sure, you will take a fast track. When you will be with a strong partner like Amarox, we have a very professional team, can serve you better than any other company. Many thanks.
Hello to everyone once again. I am there with you. I hope you have benefited from the three presentations that has been made about Saudi Arabia, and it was fruitful to all of you. And please, if there will be any question for any company, you can send it to us, and we will ask the concerned person to reply. I am going to have a short presentation referring to the conclusion for our seminar, and I call this conclusion Targeting the Opportunity in Saudi Arabia, because we got to know a lot of things, and now it is the time for targeting the opportunity in Saudi Arabia. To me, the time for Saudi Arabia is really very great, very important. During this 10 years, which is the Vision 2023, 2030, the business, the projects, the changes are happening in Saudi Arabia, and we have to jump to the opportunity as soon as possible before the others would jump to it. The content of my presentation is going to be Saudi Arabia pharma market, why we should focus on Saudi Arabia, why we didn't talk about other countries. Second thing is the change in Saudi Arabia as an opportunity. And usually change is an opportunity. If we got to understand it well, if we got to accommodate with it well, then we are going to be part of it. Under the change that is happening in Saudi Arabia is the National Transformation Program, and there is also the second Vision 2030 for the kingdom. The other topic will be pharma opportunity in Saudi Arabia. We will talk about the regulatory affair and registration by Saudi FDA authority, and then what is the opportunity with Amarox Pharma in Saudi Arabia to the Korean pharma industry. First, we will start by Saudi Arabia pharma market. As I mentioned before, Saudi Arabia is the first largest pharma sector in Middle East by size. That's why we should focus and concentrate on it. And it is also the biggest pharma market in the region of MENA, Middle East and North Africa. There is a local production now in Saudi Arabia, which covers 35% of the domestic demand. In Saudi Arabia now, there is a 42 industrial pharma units in the country, which I mean industrial pharmaceutical facilities are there. This number is not satisfying the country needs, and what is being planned is this number will be doubled in the coming 10 years. Expected growth to continue in Saudi Arabia because the expansion is going on in the field of pharma and healthcare, and the expectation is 5.5 ACGR from 2018 to 2023. There is a 10% of its production which shows improvement export over time from 21 to 2021, from 2010 to 2021. the production is not now only for local. There is an export happening from Saudi Arabia, and by the time taking it, the export has improved in such a way. Saudi Arabia pharma market value segmentation is government tender 41%, government local purchase orders are 15%, private sector is 44%. With the change that is going in Saudi Arabia, this percentage is moving towards 50-50 private government. And I think by the implementation of the insurance all over, there will be 60 private, 40 government in the same time. Why we should focus on Saudi Arabia market? As we said, because it's the biggest and the strongest pharma market in value at GCC countries, at Middle East area, at the MENA region in the same time. The biggest and strongest economy in the Middle East region, it is Saudi Arabia. Rich in oil production and export, it's a 10 million barrel a day, and this makes an income to the government, and the expenditure goes there. Population 2022 is 34.5 million, and it is expected to grow to 50 million by 2035. There is new cities are going to be there in Saudi Arabia. One of them is called Neom City, which will be a center of business, tourism, trade, and a good economy will be there, and there will be it's expected to host around 10 million people there. GDP is $1.040 trillion, and the GDP ranking is 18th in the world. This put Saudi Arabia among the G20 countries, the most important countries in the world. Change in Saudi Arabia, or the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, started in 2016 to 2020 as a national transformation program, and this has provided harmony in the country between departments, between ministries, to make things happen in a better and smoother way on the level of the government and a level of serving the private sector. Then, after they achieve this, and this has been ended in 2020, the National Transformation Plan or Program, this was followed by Vision 2030 to achieve government operation excellence in the country. That's what Saudi wants to reach to. It does not want to be only an oil exporter. It wants to be exporting oil, but a hub for business, for trade, for leisure, for business in the same time. That's how they want the country to be. Market dynamics, accordingly, market dynamics are changing with more focus and participation in the private sector. And this is really going to be pushed by the Saudi government. They want the private to be involved more. They want the private to be part of the services and the business in the country. A change in Saudi Arabia need to develop infrastructures like, in our concern, hospital and specialized centers and local manufacturing facilities for medicines and healthcare items. Support of the government to develop local production facilities for strategic pharma products. In the same time, improving rules and regulations in Saudi Arabia to attract foreign investment fund to the country. As you could see, there is a great change in the way Saudi Arabia is going to be seen within the coming 10 years in the way of being competing as a country to compete with the others in the world. The changes happening in Saudi Arabia itself are great opportunity in the pharma industry. Number one, Saudi FDA and the registration. It's more smooth now, more easy, more transparent, can be achieved if you will meet the rules and regulations of the Saudi FDA. You can do it, you can manage it through an electronic system which makes accessibility, answering the question, getting the submission of the file much more easier, getting an appointment much more easier than before. Pharma local manufacturing, the chance is open, and Saudi Arabia is looking for too many strategic products like vaccines, like blood plasma products, and oncology and other products. Private sector investment, which will involve a lot to add to the opportunity. The second point is that pharma opportunities in Saudi Arabia. Out of what we talked about in the previous presentations, there is really an opportunity in Saudi Arabia. And the number of investors and the number of companies that are coming to invest are really big and good. Number one, biotechnology products. As I mentioned, vaccines, plasma product, and oncology are strategic products, and they are under focus by the government, by the Saudi FDA authority. Special formulation like soft gelatin capsule and tech transfer is needed here. Also for sophisticated injectables and technology like pre-filled syringe, in-licensing, tech transfer, technical assistant is also needed there. The other opportunity is biosimilars are now a great opportunity where licensing and technology transfer are welcomed and are having a good chance, especially in case of marketing authorization and secondary packaging, which is welcomed by the Saudi FDA authority. API manufacturing facility is also needed in Saudi Arabia. Another opportunity is IV and dialysis solution. This is another good opportunity is there. Also, injections and local anesthetic injection cartridge usage by dentists. This is having a big potential in the Saudi market and is needed in the Saudi market. Inhalation anesthesia products like isoflurane, sevoflurane, desflurane needs to be produced there. It is not available, and there is a good chance for it in local production to cover the Middle East and Africa from Saudi Arabia. Being close to Africa and being inside the Middle East, this is the opportunity of establishing something as a joint venture there. Contrast media for X-ray and MRI. This contrast media is not available in any of the MENA region manufacturing facilities. There is a good opportunity there to cover the region for Middle East, North Africa, and Africa itself in the same time. These are a good opportunity waiting in Saudi Arabia. One of the examples that we have referring to the development in Saudi Arabia, what I said, the Saudi Drug Registration, SDR. This system is fully automated system which help to put the data like the ECTD electronically. You will have the reply coming to you. If there is a question, you can answer them. If you have a question, you can get the answer from the Saudi FDA authority. If you want to print the certificates, if you want to have anything, you can do it from the office rather than going there, having an appointment, meeting people, wasting time. So the systems that has been made has improved a lot to make things more convenient, more easy, and more achievable in the same time. This is an example. I was willing to put it in front of you. Saudi Arabia Saudi Arabia regulatory requirements. I think we have a full, excellent session about the regulatory affair what I would like to say here, and I have simple comments, the manufacturing side should have Saudi FDA approval, but if there is FDA or EU or TGA or PMDA, make registration fast, while other needs an inspection. Number two, such approval from Saudi FDA lead to submission a file for one product in ECTD format, and this goes in parallel. The manufacturing site registration and one product together with it. Number three, the CTD format is available with us upon request. If it is needed by any company, we are ready to give it. The regulatory checklist for registration is available with us upon request for any company. Any pharma company needed. Saudi FDA guidelines for biosimilar is available with us upon request. If you need it also, we can supply it and we can send it to you. The GCC guideline for stability study testing as an API and as finished pharmaceutical product is available with us upon request also. A list of bioequivalence centers, which are 46 centers in the world, approved by Saudi FDA authority and GCC countries. And if the Korean pharma industry company wants to have a bioequivalence study, it's better to be through these bioequivalence centers, make the acceptance quicker and have no hassle in any approvals that is needed. This list is available also with us. Upon request, we can give it. The registration fee in Saudi Arabia is as below. GMP inspection is $32,000. Manufacturing site registration is $3,000. Registration fee for pharma product as a new chemical entity or biosimilar, $3,500 US, and generic product, $14,700 US. If any product went through a fast track registration, the same apply as above to the product. If it is generic or if it is biosimilar or a new chemical entity product. These are important things. Now, we come to the end of the last slides. In my conclusion, Amarox Pharma as an opportunity in Saudi Arabia for the Korea pharma industry. Amarox, as an introduction, is one of fastest growing Kingdom of Saudi Arabia based pharmaceutical companies. They are engaged in manufacturing, marketing, and supply of medicine, manufacturing facility with CGMP and updated devices and machines and systems in the same time. They are up to date pharma manufacturing facility. The opportunity here for the Korean pharma companies. Amarox is looking for strategic alliance with Korea in the pharma industry. Number two, collaboration to improve capabilities to accelerate the development of new or improved drugs. Number three, partnership to expand the range of products that benefit patients and professionals there in Saudi Arabia. All senior management of Amarox Pharma is atypical members with KIDI, and this is a good for us and also for the Korean pharma industry. If you have also any question, any clarification, we can easily contact those members and give you the answer you are looking for. I have finished my conclusion, and I would like to say thank you very much. Looking forward that you will have the benefit and the fruits out of this seminar. Thank you very much once again, and looking forward to see you again.